Perfect, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, this is MLS Ireland where I'll be doing my predictions for week 23. There's not that long left, so stay tuned. Excellent, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, my name is Sean and you're watching MLS Ireland Does Predictions, and if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. It would actually quite mean a lot to me. I'm actually doing better than I suspected. I think I'm 254 at the moment, so getting to 300 by the end of the season. I wonder if I'm pushing that a wee bit too much, don't know. But anyway, I always jibber jabber and talk a wee bit too much when I'm trying to do these things, so I'm going to try to run through these as quick as possible. Well, not quick as possible, you know what I mean, not the fucking 17 minutes as I usually do. So I might as well crack on with the first one. This is going to be on a Friday night. That's Seattle at LAFC. Now this one's actually going to be a good one. I'm not going to be able to see it because it's going to be on 3 o'clock in the morning, which isn't great. Seattle Sounders coming into this one after not a bad game last week against the Colorado Rapids. Colorado Rapids are not a bad team. Seattle starting to kind of trying to get their season back on track. They got it back against Toronto, but lost against Portland, which isn't a good result at home. Then they got beaten by Nashville away from home and Chicago Fire, which is a terrible result for them. But they got beaten. They beat Colorado, so which that was a good one. Now they're coming up against a very good LAFC who won their last game there against Sporting Kansas City, where Gareth Bale scored. And I'm not 100% sure, but I did say that he may score. But anyway, I did think he was going to start, but I'm pretty sure he probably will start this game. So LAFC at home. Probably Gareth Bale's proper starting. He'll probably start against Seattle. I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win. I think Seattle have the capabilities of getting a good result in this one, but I think LA just have too much firepower, really, or too much. Yeah, I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win in that one. Seattle, sorry, but next week maybe. The next one is Minnesota against Portland Timbers. Now Minnesota, who I thought this season they could do rather well, are doing okay. They haven't lost a game in the last 6, which is pretty impressive. They only drew the 1, now it's against Sporting Kansas City. So that was a good result. Their last game was a 2-1 win away from home to Houston, and they beat Minnesota their last home game. So they're coming up against the Portland Timbers, who are 12th and who haven't lost a game in the last 6. So this is two teams at the start of the season who weren't doing very well and now doing slightly well. Portland beat San Jose Earthquakes 2-1, but drew against Vancouver. Beaten Seattle, like I said, then drew against Nashville, and their last 2 games were home, and that was against Houston and Colorado, where they won quite comfortably. So a Minnesota game against the Portland Timbers team, who, like I said, doing okay in the grand scheme of things, but their away record isn't so great. They've only won 2 out of the games that they played, so that's not great. Out of 11 games, so they won 1 to 2 away from home. Granted, this is MLS, nothing really matters, so I'm going for like a 1-1. 2 teams coming into this with good form, and I do think the 2 teams are probably well matched at the moment, because Minnesota, I think, have only won half their games at home, so less than half, so 45%. So yeah, I'm going to go for like a 1-1, so the 2 teams are probably well matched. And the next one is Shaqiri's Chicago Fire. Shaqiri's starting to score goals, which is pretty impressive against Atlanta now, who Joseph Martinez is he's not starting a lot of games, and he's not really scoring that many as well, because last week they didn't do very well. They got beat, granted in the last 6 they've only won the 1 game, and I think Joseph Martinez scored in that one. They got beaten by LA Galaxy last week, and that was a 2-0, not good. They drew against Orlando, which isn't a bad result. Like I said, beat Real Salt Lake, got beaten by Austin, and then away from home, New York City and New York Red Bulls, they got beaten so not good. Now they're coming up against the Chicago Fire team, who are 18th, won the last 3 on the bounce against Toronto. They're a better team now. Against Seattle, they should be a better team now. And I won a away game against Vancouver, who won the Canadian Cup, I think, last night. Congratulations to them. But I'll you know. Yeah, so Chicago Fire are on fire. You know what I mean? I'm going to go for like a 3-1 win. I think Chicago Fire are capable of winning this one, the way the thing is going at the moment. Atlanta are just diminished with injuries at the moment, so Sorry, Atlanta. I'm going to go for like a 3-1 win in that one to Chicago. The next one is Charlotte against Columbus Crew. Charlotte, first season in this league, doing rather well. They're 19th. I know that's not great, but their home record is pretty impressive. But they're coming up against a Columbus Crew team. I'm not going to say great, but they haven't lost a game in the last 6. But granted, that was a win, draw, win, draw, win, draw, win, draw, win, draw. Well, you know that kind of jazz. They drew against New England Revolution at home, but beat Cincinnati the week before that. Drew with DC United, beat Chicago Fire, drew against Philadelphia, and beat Toronto. So they're coming up against a Charlotte team who, like I said, are a very good home team. They've only lost 3 at home and won 7, so that's pretty impressive. Out of the 10 games, whereas Columbus Crew have only won the 3 away from home, but haven't lost a game in the last 4 away games. But I'm going to go for like a 1-0 win to Charlotte. I think Charlotte are a very good team at home, with their fans are behind them, and they actually do rather well. And I think this is probably going to be an interesting game for. I think Columbus Crew is probably going to think we're going to get them this game, and I think Charlotte's probably going to have a bit more belief than you think. They do better at home. The next one is Montreal against New York City FC, who are now Tatiana Castellanos light, basically. Well, they still technically Ono, but MLS basically went, hello Europe, fancy a player? Not really. We can give you him on loan for 2 years. Okay. Then you can if you want to buy him. If you don't, okay, we could just take him back. Okay, fair enough. There you go. One of our best players, we just give him a loan. Makes sense. But anyway, they're coming up against the Montreal team. Sorry, Montreal, who I do actually fancy in this game because they are doing rather well. They've only won 6 games at home, got beaten 4 times, but this is MLS. New York City won 4 times away from home, drew 2, lost 3. So coming into this one, Montreal, I would suspect, have a better incoming into this. But they beat Toronto before they got good, and then they beat DC United. Well, that's DC United. So I'm going to actually go for a 1-0. I think Chicago Fire, the last time Castellanos was kind of out for a while, they struggled to score. I know Herbert's starting to come back into it a bit, and he'll probably score that goal, but I think they're going to basically miss him, and I think that's going to basically derail the whole season. So anyway, 1-0. The next one is Philadelphia against Houston. Houston Dynamo are doing 21st. Only won the 1 game in the last 6, so that's not great. And that was against the San Jose Earthquakes, who are 4 from bottom. So they're coming into Philadelphia, who are 2nd in the league and won their last 4. Pretty impressive. Granted, DC United 7-0 beat Inter Miami in Miami, which is a pretty good result. Beating New England 2-1 and beat Orlando 1-0. So they're coming up against the Houston Dynamo team. I'm going to predict 2-0 to Philadelphia. Sorry about that. I do think they're coming into this game a bit more belief. Houston Dynamo, not so much. So yeah, I'm going for like a 2-0 win. I feel like they're just too good of a team. They're that draw, I was messing them up. I say if they weren't doing those stupid draws, they probably would be top by now. But is it is. So the next one is Inter against Cincinnati. I like Inter. Their managers probably not so much, but they're starting to become a team. Granted, they lost their last game against New York City FC. That was 2-0, like I said. They beat Charlotte 3-2, which is a pretty good result, but Charlotte were away from home. Got beaten by Philly, Orlando, drew with Dallas at home. In Dallas. And beat Minnesota, so their home record isn't too bad against teams in and around them. I know Cincinnati are 16th, but they haven't won a game in the last 6. They only lost 1, to be fair, and drew the rest of them. And their last game was against Nashville, and that was a 1-1. And their last away game was against Columbus Crew, and they got beat 2-0. So I'm going for like a 2-1 win to Inter Miami. Inter Miami, I think they got Higuain kind of fighting first place, if that makes any sense. They got him out of that wee funk of thinking this is going to be easy and all that kind of jazz. So I'm going for like a 2-1 win in that one. The next one is Nashville, who are 10th. against the Vancouver Whitecaps, who won the Canadian Cup, I believe, last night. So congratulations to them, beating Toronto on penalties with Toronto and their exciting new players. So congratulations. But anyway, Nashville 10th against the Vancouver team, who are 20th. I've only won the one game in the last 6, and that was against LAFC. So they're up for big games. But this is not necessarily a big game. I'm going to go for like a 1-0 to win the Nashville. Nashville probably have a lot more attackingness in their team. Vancouver aren't great. I know they won last night, but that was in penalties and that was a 1-1. Their away record is only 2 wins out of 11 games. So that's not great. Granted, Nashville's home record isn't as great either. They've won 3 games. So I'm going to go for like a 1-0 win. The next one is New England Revolution against a new look Toronto. Toronto haven't won a game away from home this season. Will that change against the New England Revolution team, who have lost 2 away from home this season? So that's not bad. But in the last 4 at home, they haven't lost a game. They are now currently sitting 17th. Granted, they lost their last 2. Drew against Columbus, got beat by Philly, got beaten by New York City in the last 3 away from home. So this is their first game back at home since the start of the season. Funnily enough, I predict a 2-1 win to Toronto, just for the fact is they actually they do look like they have a proper system in place where Insignia starting to play very well. He only played 1 game, but he's a very good player and it does make a huge difference. So I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win in that one. Sporting Kansas City against Austin. Austin are a superb team. They're 4th they're 2nd in the Western. So against the Sporting Kansas City team, who are bottom in the Western. Sorry for shouting. Austin. Austin 2-0 win. I'm going to go for a Houston 2 win. Sporting Kansas City got beaten by LAFC, who I would suspect are kind of on the level of play. I know Sporting Kansas City are a bit better, but I think Austin have the capabilities of winning this one as well. So I'm going to go for like a 2-0. The next one is DC United, who won finally again. They were on a very bad patch here. A 1-0 win against Real Salt Lake, and now they're coming up against the LA Galaxy team, who again, like them, found a winning game last week, and that was against Atlanta, but they got beaten by Colorado, beaten by San Jose, beaten by LAFC. These are games where they should have been winning, not the LAFC game, but they should have been at least a draw. But anyway, Dallas at home are a good wee team. Granted, this past while they haven't been so great. So I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to Dallas. I think Dallas has their number, LA Galaxy's number, because they beat them in LA a couple of months ago 3-1. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to go 2-1. The next one is San Jose Earthquakes against Real Salt Lake. Ooh. San Jose drew the last. Well, no, they got beaten by Portland, beaten by Houston, beaten LA Galaxy. Like I said, drew against Toronto. That's the one I was looking at for some weird reason, and beat Chicago Fire. So they're beating the teams kind of around them, and then teams around the middle of the park they're kind of struggling too, and then beating teams above them. The top. But anyway, San Jose against Real Salt Lake, who are 8th, lost their last game against Dallas. Granted, they haven't only won the 1 game, and that was against Sporting Kansas City in the last 6, so that's not great. Tis why I think this is probably going to be a good game for San Jose Earthquakes, where they have the capabilities and the strangeness of MLS behind them to win 2-1. They're just a strange team this season. As like I said, this is probably going to be like them beating LA Galaxy. They have a game in them where they can probably do some damage on a team, so that's what I'm going to go for. That's probably my shock value one. Then the last one is DC United. Will Wayne Rooney, God knows. Last week was supposed to be his first week back, being manager against Orlando City. I want to see DC United. They have Ralph L. Morrison. I would assume he should be starting unless there's a visa issues, like with Wayne Rooney as well. Beaten by Montreal and beaten by Minnesota. Drew Columbus, got beaten by Philadelphia. So they're getting not great with teams in around the top half. I know Chicago Fire aren't around the top half, but they're above them. Montreal, Minnesota, and Columbus Crew, Philadelphia. Not kind of jazz, so that's not great. I don't know why I said that anyway. Orlando, they got beaten last week, which I was quite intrigued by. A Philadelphia 1-0 win, but they drew against Atlanta, Colorado, and beat Inter. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to DC United if Wayne Rooney is managing. That's probably going to get their new manager bounce. It's going to be an interesting one. I think Ravel Morrison probably will be starting, so I'm going to go for like a 1-0 win on that one. So yeah, excellent. So that is my predictions. I hope you enjoyed them, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye now.